Hey everyone, welcome to the PCN Podcast. My name's Brazilian. Alongside me is AJ. We got a panel of Dorsey, Rio, J-Wave, Vape, and Zlatan. And before we get in today, I just want to say a big thank you to one of our sponsors, King Evan. He's bought out his contract enough times to give us the funding for this podcast, so big thank you, Evan.
Thank you, Evan.
Alright, moving into the Super League. River Plate in first right now. Things have changed a little bit. They've gone up. They're 6-0 right now, completely undefeated. What a start. Thoughts?
I'd like to start off with saying, that very impressive 2 narrow wins against Man United and Young Boys last night. I feel like they're looking to be one of the top teams in this league throughout the whole season.
That's well said. Juve decided to get some revenge on Orlando after seeing the table last week, and they kind of smacked them 5-2, pushing them into second place in the process. J-Way?
That game was rough. In the first half, it was 1-0, so we thought we could climb back in the game. 1-0 them. And we thought we could climb back in the game. And I just feel like we don't, and I don't want to blame it on this because we do have 5 wins and 1 loss. But in that case, we just don't practice enough. And Aventis plays all the time. I just feel like their teamwork and their passing really put them over the edge in that game. And they hit some great shots. If you saw the game, they hit, I think, a couple of close to top of the box shots. So a lot of 3 balls were going through.
It happens.
It happens.
That's the thing. That's the thing with Aventis is the reason they've been on top for so long is because they play so much. When you play them, you can tell the chemistry they have. Everyone knows where to be. They can tear teams apart. When they first started, I thought it was a good group of players, but I thought they were beatable. But I really feel like every season they've gotten better and better. And even though the competition's a little better this season, I just would not count them out.
No, dude, they will 100% be up there in the top 3 this season. Just how they played versus us, they will be up there. But to say they're not going to, I know they lost a couple people, and they lost a couple people to River Plate, who's in first. So, we'll see what happens.
J-Way, maybe if your team practiced at 3 a.m. like Juve did, maybe they'd be better, but...
No. They're playing at 3 a.m., and they're also playing at 1 in the afternoon.
Moving on to Man City, who are still undefeated after drawing Liverpool and beating NYCFC, 2 newly promoted sides. The sides, is promise for the Man City team. They've got a great group of players and have had a good start, but for a team so confident in themselves, their performance against recently promoted sides, currently mid-table as well, leaves a little room to be desired. Ibra, anything to say?
I thought we played well against NYC. We needed those 3 points. And then Liverpool was a tough match. We came away with 1 point. It could have gone either way. But those are the types of games we need to get 3 points out of.
All right, and rounding out the top 6 are both 4-0-2 and pretty evenly split. Their scores are their results and points and goal difference, it's all almost identical at this point. And in my opinion, right now, this looks to be around these 6 teams is what I think will be most of the top 6 for this season. Maybe 1 or 2 teams sneaking into that 5th and 6th spot, but the teams sitting there right now have proven that they are capable teams of staying at that level, and I think that's how it's going to round out mostly. Anyone else? How do you guys think the top 6 will be?
I think there's a few teams in the mid-table area, looking at Young Boys, looking at PSG, a couple of teams with a lot of players that have done it in the past that have finished top 2 and top 3. Arsenal's another team I think that's got a lot of potential, but I think for the most part I think you're right. I think that top 6 is going to stay at least in the top half. And I really see, I think those top 3, especially right now, those look like the title favorites. Man City, if they can turn some more of these draws into wins, like Ibra was saying, and Lyon and United, if they can do a little bit more to show up their defense, I think that's what those 2 teams need to do to really push on.
Yeah, but I do agree with that, but I also feel like, and I know Milan has gone through stuff in the beginning, but I feel like by the end, that is definitely going to be a top 6 or 7 team. And I'm just basing this off of playing Manchester United and playing Arsenal and knowing who is on the Milan team. I feel like they're going to pull off some wins here, but we'll see.
Yeah, I'll get to them in a bit, actually. But before that, I want to touch on Arsenal, who Dorsey mentioned. Arsenal, they've been doing a great job. They've kind of quietly but efficiently snuck up on that top 6. They're only behind Man U, or they're level with Man U on points and goal difference. The only difference is because they've scored 1 more goal than them, I think. So I'll definitely be keeping my eye on Arsenal because they've been putting in some unnoticed work. Jumping around a little bit onto Milan, actually. They must have heard last week's podcast because they scored 10 goals in the last 2 games with 2 big wins. Although, that being said, they were against Spurs and Roma, who both sit way deeper in the table. But do you think this marks the start of a turning point for Milan?
Oh yeah, for sure. like I stated in last week's podcast, they're a group of really good players, and they definitely have the potential to shoot up the table. It was just a rough start, and I mean, if they keep up the form, they're definitely going to be up there at the end.
I agree. I believe they had a really rocky start, but most of those guys are EGN players. They've got chemistry with each other, played together before. So really, they just needed to figure things out, and I think they're on the right track now.
Yeah, I mean, and just to kind of play I don't want to say the devil's advocate, but I've definitely talked to Fatal a little bit, and just like with all EGN players, and I say this as a manager who has EGN players, that I feel like there's just drama like drifting around in the background that is just it is just one conversation or fight or something away from pulling your team apart, which isn't the greatest thing, but we'll see how they do. I personally, they have great talent, so I think they're going to finish up there, but watch for drama and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, drama is going to be a big factor for a lot of teams in this league, but before I get to that, PSG, they've won 3, lost 3, scored 9, conceded 9, and sit on 9 points. I think I looked them up in the Merriam-Webster's dictionary under the word average. But that's not entirely a bad thing, because even if they maintain this form for the rest of the season, there's no chance of them getting relegated. PSG are a good team capable of picking up points, so there's obviously a chance for PSG to soar up this table. I just think that there's, at this rate, even if they continue this somewhat quote-unquote average run, that they'll be safe. There's,
it's not a team that will get relegated. This is a perennial top 4, top 6 kind of team. They did lose a few players from last season. I was actually talking to one of their players today, and he was kind of explaining the things that are going on. A couple of players haven't been available. Their manager, Seihi, is on vacation for a couple of weeks right now. And they started last season slow, and they finished 3rd. So I don't think they're going to finish 12th. Will they necessarily be a top 6 for sure? I don't know, but I would expect them to move up as the season goes on.
And then on to Young Boys. There's a lot of drama in the Young Boys camp right now as they sink a little further into the table. Losing to River Plate, which I guess you could say, I wouldn't say we saw it coming, but River Plate have just been the toughest team to beat so far. But they made up for it by beating Chelsea. Their defense has been solid. They don't have many goals against, and their attack is doing well. They've scored a good number of goals. I think 15 goals and 6 conceded, something like that. Their attack is never shy a goal, but containing some of the big egos in that club, given the history of some of those players, may be one of the most difficult things to accomplish.
Yeah, we'll say about Young Boys, and we've already played them at Orlando. And, we did win, but, it was a good game, to be honest with you. Just from playing it, I haven't watched it, but it was a good game. But more importantly, I still feel like they can finish, but they've only lost to us, and they've lost to River Plate. So these are 2 teams in the top 3, so I wouldn't put too much into that.
Going back into their egos, they got people like King Evan, the sponsor, Jakub, Welty, and the Don of PCN, Fozzie. It's just a pretty interesting camp. With them on Milan last season, playing with them, it's a pretty interesting group. It can get pretty hectic at times, but also can be really fun. But as long as they can maintain it being a good atmosphere, I think they'll soar up the table. But it's just a rough start. They just need to group together and move forward as a unit.
Mm-hmm. And agree on things. That's the big thing. As a team, you got to focus on coming to agreements and pushing forward. I've noticed this a lot with the whole kind of Xbox League type thing. From my personal experience, I've noticed a lot of almost like superiority complexes on every team. Mm-hmm. Everyone always has the impression that they're better than this person. And, one of the biggest things to say is, for example, FIFA Talentless, at least from the transition from him to PCN EGN, I know a lot of people, myself included, honestly, that used to give him a lot of stick, but he's kind of been shining in other leagues and where he goes. So, it's a matter of players taking their, prior bad experience, but, not getting discouraged by that and turning around and like focusing on improving and focusing on agreeing and staying unified as a team. That's going to make a big difference for them.
I have to agree with you there. He's definitely improved as a player since he was on Dortmund, and he's really a vital part of River Plate's success.
Hey man, people's roles change as they play on. They adapt, they get better. It happens.
Exactly. And finally, to the teams in the relegation zone, we sit winless, which is always a bit of a rough start, especially now we're 6 games in. Spurs and Tottenham sit dead last. They've only scored 4 and 6. Spurs' brief run in the Super League may be coming to an end if they can't fix the sinking holes in their ship. Any thoughts?
Well, as a Spurs fan, it saddens me to see them dead last right now and tied with Dortmund. They're dead even. They have the same goals conceded and all that with no points. Bayern also yet to win a game. The bottom 6 right now, if you really look at them, they've all got double-digit negative goal difference. I think that's going to be the 6 teams that are going to. None of them are really, it's too early to call any team out. But
what
I think
are those 6 teams? No, we need to hear those 6 teams.
Chivas, Roma, Chelsea, Bayern, Dortmund, and Tottenham is
Chelsea. Come on, Blues.
So right now those teams are struggling, and there's plenty of time. There's experienced managers in there. I'm sure these teams will, try to make the moves to improve. But to me, that's the 6 right now. I think the 3 going down are going to come out of that group.
Yeah, and speaking of Bayern, they have it worse on the attack. They've only scored 2, but they've also only conceded 12, which is comparable to some of the better teams in the league as far as goals conceded goes. So positives to take as far as that goes, I guess. But a strong defense can only do so much. I know Ricky made a lot of effort to bring in a lot of good players, and he did it in a relatively short time span compared to some of the other managers. So I guess, there's just as time goes on, we'll see how that progresses. And finally, before we get to D1, Dorsey, anything on the cups?
Yeah, so we're going to do a little weekly cup review each week. We have the Royal Cup, which is going on every Sunday. So we didn't have anything this past week. Obviously, we didn't have games, but there were a couple standout results. Man U put the smackdown on Chivas. River Plate beat up Dortmund. Bayer Leverkusen beat PSG 3-0, which is really interesting. But it's a little too early to really make any meat to really take away from it. And then we had the first round of the PCN Cup last night. The first 8 teams to get their feet wet in that category. So Inter Milan, Club America, Atletico Madrid, and Real Madrid moved on to the round of 32. America put the smackdown on Zenit, who were off to a good start in D1, but they beat them 9-0. So not sure what happened there. But we have just did the draw for the round of 32 last night in the League Cup, and we have a really juicy matchup with Orlando and Aventis. So a quick rematch already. So I'm sure JOA, you will be looking forward to that next week.
Oh, that should be wonderful.
All right, AJ.
Oh man, Division 1. I gotta say, it's been very entertaining not playing Sunday, which we shouldn't have because it's Mother's Day. And that's very important that we salute our mothers. But I gotta say, last night was rather entertaining. The Division 1 is shaping up. Napoli. We got Napoli at the top, which, yeah, proud of. 16 points. Inter Milan is in second with 16 points. Ajax is in third with 13. And Bayer Leverkusen is in fourth with 13, tied with Zenit. So we got a 3-way tie at third, fourth, and fifth. I think probably what I want to start out in terms of what I noticed about just yesterday was Shakhtar. We played them in our first game, so I relate to that. But, Shakhtar, I talked to their manager. He had to put his team together within like 24 hours. And he actually has a link up on YouTube of his game, his first game and his second game. And it was just entertaining to see a group of guys get together right away. And I always bring that back, just like in the last podcast, where I feel like Division 1 is, it's hard to get a team together. We've talked about drama in this podcast. We've talked about, egos and all that other kind of stuff. And so I got to give a shout out to him for the fact that he's putting a team together. He's trying to be part of the league. And they gave us a very hard match because we won 2-1, but I was scared, for a little bit there. If I'm looking maybe a little bit of mid-table in terms of Division 1 standings, Barcelona, I give a shout out to them. They got 3 wins and 1 draw in the last 4 games, currently sitting at 7th, and they're surging. I feel like they're doing good. They're looking to build there, and that's the biggest thing I always look for in Division 1. Kind of the comic relief of the week, Valencia. So last time we played, not last night, but last Wednesday, they had 0 wins and 2 losses, and they gave up 9 goals, and they only scored 1. They got absolutely smacked, and so I hopped into their chat to talk to them, and I love the atmosphere of that team because I hopped in. I said, "So guys, how do you feel? You just got absolutely smacked." And they were like, and all they could say is, "We need a change of approach," and they were being sarcastic. "We just feel like we need to find our safe space." And they were just so out, they were just like, we're trying, we're trying the best, we're putting a team together, but they were so happy. I've never seen a team, because my team gets pissed off, and I know most guys get pissed off when you lose. We want to win. They were so laid back, but last night, they bounced back with 2 wins, and they had 0 losses. They had 3 goals for and 0 against. Sin Diver, their their keeper has had 3 clean sheets in the last 4 starts. So I thought that was rather interesting. Getting up to the top, maybe Inter Milan. Keep talking about their defense and how they haven't been giving up anything. I'm looking at the keeper's stats. They got the 3rd best keeper and the 4th best keeper. Too Lazy and Cozius Prism. I hope that's right. But 3 clean sheets and 2 clean sheets. I asked them, on a whole for a team, they got 14 goals for and 1 goal against. And the goal they gave up was an own goal. So they continue to do that defense.
So they scored every goal for their team.
Yes, there you go. I mean, it's pretty impressive in terms of that, the defense. And so if I have something to say in terms of defense, Bayer Leverkusen's keeper, Darkberry, he's leading the league with 33 saves and he has 3 clean sheets. And so, they're kind of sitting middle of the table, but he's, I
wouldn't say quite middle. I mean, they're right there, just right behind you. I mean, Rio, how do you guys think you guys have been doing so far?
With us, it was just a matter of getting everybody together in their natural positions, getting everybody to know the roles. We switched formations a couple times, depending on who's there, who's not. But Barry, he's just been the most consistent guy out of all of us. He's got 3 clean sheets and the most saves so far. He's leading in team of the season points, all of that. So he's just the positive guy of the group. No matter whether we make a mistake or not, he's just always that guy that's we got this. They're not going to, or we're going to win. It's all good. Even when he concedes, he's I can do better and we'll get it all together. So, it's just positivity at the end of the day.
Yeah, that's huge. I play with players like that. Mother Kangaroo comes to mind right now. I'd never played with a more positive, uplifting, we got this guy's kind of player, and those guys make such a world of a difference. They may not speak all the time, but when they do, it's positive, and it's really important to have.
What do you mean, Dorsey? You don't think I'm that type of player on Family?
I'm just saying, he's one who's always stuck in my mind as the kind of player who does that.
If I can backtrack for a split second to the cup, Bayer Leverkusen advanced past who one more time, please, Dorsey?
They beat PSG 3-0 in the Royal Cup.
So, Rio, are you guys going to change your plan around now that you're competing in essentially almost two different leagues style of competition?
No. Well, we feel pretty confident with how we're running things now and everything we got going on. It's just a matter of, getting everybody together, getting more practicing together, just gelling all together. And just making sure everybody knows the common goal in mind and all that. So, whether it's a top team in the Super League, whether it's a middle team in the Division 1, take every game the same way,
I love these answers, by the way.
I know. I don't want to face this.
D1,
I don't want to face this. Yeah. Thank you, Rio. I don't want to face this. Yeah. I got to say, it's really good. I apologize. I said middle of the table. They're in 4th place. With 13 points.
They beat you guys and they're above you.
I know.
Yeah,
no, they're not above. No, they're not above us.
But
they're right there. I said middle of the table, they're 7th, 8th, 9th. They're 4th. Next week they could be at the top of the table, no problem. I got a question for Rio. By my calculations, you lead Division 1 in goals with 8 in 6 games. How do you feel about
this man
that,
said
buddy?
By my calculations.
By my calculation. Yeah, how do you feel about that? It's a time for you to talk a little crap, man.
Breaking out the abacus over here.
Exactly. 8 goals, 6 games. How you doing it?
Without the TI 83.
I could go on about I do this and I do that, but at the end of the day, it's just teammates finding me in right positions and I'm finishing it. And it's just a matter my striker partner, Liverpool, Mad Kev, he always finds me in good positions as well as my Cam. So, it's not all me. I couldn't do it without my teammates. So, always.
Wait a minute. Shout out your Cam. That's what position I would play. Shout him out.
My Cam, Raven 52.
There you go. So that's what I'm talking about. I absolutely love that. So I gotta give a shout out to my boy Smoke on my own team. I know I'm not supposed to brag, but he's leading the league at 154 points with 6 assists. And we got Chronic with Leipzig. Hopefully we'll get them on. And then Inter has got the top 2 best midfielders with NSGG Dan, who has 20 passing points in 6 games. And then Spurs 94, who's in 2nd. I mean, they were in 3rd and 4th last night, and now they're in 1st and 2nd. And Inter and Bayer Leverkusen. We got some good teams in D1, guys.
I think with I think when a lot of us look at our stats, we're focused on just us, or we'll see names on the leaderboards, but we don't always see the same teams, players competing for that 1 and 2 spot. And I think that's
Right.
just a testament to how unified they are in that midfield and defense, how solid they gel together, that they're both contributing so much for the same team.
They are. They're playing really, really, really good. They beat Ajax. I mean, 2-0, and I went to Ramos and was like, what happened? He was like, they just possessed the ball. Kufavelli had a goal. Thaki, I'm not sure how to pronounce that, but each one of them had a goal. I was looking forward to that match, kind of like I didn't realize that Orlando and Juventus played last night. And so we kind of had the same matchup in D1 with Ajax and Inter to see, top of the table, who's going to take it, and Inter was able to take it away 2-0. So, it's a team I'm looking forward to playing, but it's also kind of scary and, it's D1. This is D1, guys. Come on, give us some credit. We're going to be there in Super League, all right?
Inter Milan actually played Ajax twice last night, which is pretty entertaining.
Yeah.
They played them once.
Yes, they played them in the cup too.
What was the second result? Does anybody have
Ajax
that?
lost both of them, so I'm sure they are waiting for some rematches.
They scored in the second one though. I'm pretty sure. I was looking at the stats. So they started to figure out how to score. I mean, we don't have that, but I'm pretty sure that's what happened. So I don't know. We'll see. You play a team a second time, you get to know their tendencies, and we'll see what happens.
Inter Milan is definitely a tricky team to figure out because they're very conservative with their passing. It's very Barcelona-esque.
Mm-hmm.
They're very passive with the ball. Everybody knows when to make the pass, how to make the pass, where the run's going. They don't make risk plays. Very organized with how they're doing. So they're definitely tough to get behind.
Yeah, we'll look at them and after Sunday and then Wednesday, next podcast will come out. It'll come out tonight, of course, everybody listening, but then it'll be a week, so we'll have a couple more games to talk about for the next one. Other than that, it's pretty much going to bring us to our interview. Luckily, Italiano is our guest speaker, and so we're going to talk to him and pick his brain a little bit about what he does and how he does it, and Juventus. So here's to that. Hey guys, welcome to the PCN Podcast interview. Our guest today is Italiano. He has, over the past 2 seasons, 54 goals, 25 assists, 53 key passes. He also has 3 Team of the Season awards and the record for most goals in a season at 37. Not to mention, if anybody doesn't know, he is the manager of Juventus, who's done very well as of late. 3 Super League Cups, 2 Royal Cups, and 2 Super Cups. How you doing, Italiano?
How's you doing, man? How's everything going?
Not too bad, man. So I'm excited to have you in here. I know a lot of people are looking forward to this podcast. I got to ask you, how did you become the manager of Juventus?
Well, it was a long story. We first started at Bayern. I came into pro clubs playing with Bayern under Alex, with Retro, Viper, Assassin, and a couple other people that were really good players in that team. We played well. It was my first season, and it came to the last game. A lot of controversy happened. Real Madrid ended up winning the title over reschedule, non-reschedule, forfeit. So I realized that, it was fun. I enjoyed playing. So after that, after Bayern, I had a little stint at Real Madrid, and then we started Juventus. Alex took over Juventus, and Isaac, developed the team, and over the course of time, Alex ended up leaving Juventus, and I was given the manager for that team.
And how long ago was that you took over?
I think it was, say, about a year ago. I don't remember the exact date, of course, but I'd say it was about a year ago when it was I took over Alex mid-season manager spot and stayed as manager until now.
Yeah, was it a smooth transition?
You could say so. I mean, it wasn't my quarrel. I think it was more with Alex and the PCN management team. So when that happened, he said he was leaving. The team decided to stay in PCN, and I decided to take over as manager. I was already the assistant manager to Alex, but once Alex left and he had the fallout with Ricky and the rest of the PCN management team, I was the one that took over.
So I guess after he left, you kind of rallied the troops. What other players have been influential in terms of you guys, just sustaining success and your success as a player as well?
Absolutely. I think my team was mostly able to always be consistent in what we had, whether we changed center back or whether we changed midfield or strikers. Cam, no matter what position we changed, what we had available that season, I think we all stuck together. And obviously, when you play a lot together, it helps your chemistry. You know, the core players were always there from the beginning. You know, in goal between Kazra and Phil, we always had the player to make the save when we needed to make the save in order for us to succeed. The center back, you know, of course, Matias has been a pillar in the defense, but we also had so many different center backs playing with him between Hernandez and Assassin, and now Thiago's coming in and doing a great job. The outside backs have always been great for us. You know, we had trouble, you know, with it going up and going down, but bottom line, they always got the job done. Of course, Ronix, Palombo, and Gato has been outstanding for us.
Yeah, it's one of those
Realm,
positions that
I don't want to
credit.
go and say every position because there's so many players that played us through the year, and there's always been good players. We've always had high quality on the field, and for me as a striker, it's always been so easy to play with these people. You know, Killa at Cam, Mokro, and Cheesy at striker. They're always been amazing players that made me look good.
It makes it fun. That's
Absolutely,
it makes
absolutely.
It fun.
And
Yeah,
the best part, I tell you, is the fact that they're good kids. You know, you always have fun when you're playing with them. There's never a moment where, you know, you feel like, oh, I don't like this guy. It's always been like fun times anytime we play together.
Yeah, I know how that goes, and that just goes out to you in terms of manager and any other manager who's been able to keep a team together. But for you to be able to keep it at such a high level, if you could bring me into a little bit of the locker room, what's it like on game day for you guys? Are you serious? Do you keep it light?
I think it's a mixture of both. I think we know when to fool around. Maybe the team that we're playing is a little weaker. Mm-hmm. And, you know, we get to laugh around a lot. But even on the tough games, there's moments where, you know, somebody says a joke and releases the pressure, but we all know that we're concentrated. We're trying to win. That's our objective. But if there's something funny that happens, it's not like everybody's going to be on edge. If someone says something funny or something happens during the game, we laugh and have fun because at the end of the day, that's what we're trying to do. That's what we're trying to achieve. We're trying to have fun while playing a video game and possibly winning.
Yeah. And that's hard to do over the course of a year. That was one of the questions. Another question I had for you is that is the biggest motivating factor. I guess you kind of already answered it. Is we want to win, right? We want to have fun.
I mean, everything is much easier when you're winning games and you're winning titles. There's less pressure involved. You know what I mean? You have such skilled players all over the lineup. Everybody's going to get their job done. Everybody's going to do what needs to be done for the team to succeed. And that's the best factor that keeps us in a high morale and always having a good time, of course.
So you're looking good this year. You're at the towards the top of the table. You got a couple other teams that are also shaping up, you know, this early into the year, but it's shaping up rather good. You guys feel good about this year, I would think.
I think we have a strong squad and we're going to compete till the end, but there's no doubt that the level of play has risen in PCN, you know, especially with all these AGN players coming in here and forming a squad. I think it's something that, you know, PCN, in order to grow, had to consider the challenge of other leagues. And we're lucky enough that the competition has been better and is going to get only better from here.
Yeah, it makes it more fun. I know I love playing against you guys or anybody in Super League. I like tough competition. You know, you start playing weak teams, you get in bad habits. It feels like sometimes.
Absolutely.
3 a.m. Somebody mentioned to me that you guys practice at 3 a.m. and this is what gives your team superpowers. Is that true?
I think our schedule works in a way that we could play at 3 a.m. It's not like we have, you know, we don't get our stuff done, our job done because we're playing at 3 a.m. I think our schedule is a little bit laid back. And me personally, I'm a coach, so I'm personally a little bit more laid back. I work late in the afternoons a lot of times, so I'm able to sometimes stay up until late and play. And my players are also able to stay up and play, so we play. What are we gonna do?
Yeah, I know, right? You play when you can play. Just finding the game sometimes.
Yeah.
37 goals. Is that beatable?
I think it's very beatable. I think especially with the season that we added more teams and more games, it's very beatable. I hope it's one of my teammates that wins it. I hope Mokro wins it. If not me, I hope Mokro beats it better than somebody else. But there's so many players around the league that could possibly beat it, between Eric, who had always been up there to score goals, and other players on the other teams. You know, I see Jay Lane already has 8, 9 goals. So there's a lot of players that could beat it. But I hope if we are going to beat it, it's going to be someone from PCN Juventus.
There you go. It's going to be fun to watch, man. It's always fun to watch you and Juventus and just seeing what you guys do. Even I know a big motivator, at least, like I said, when I first got in the league, and for anybody else who's new, you want to know who Aventis is right away and who's Italiano. So I know they're going to appreciate this. Probably the most important question I have for you, though.
Yes.
What's your favorite Italian food?
I'd say spaghetti carbonara.
Jesus,
which
I can't even
is
pronounce that.
Yeah, it's pasta with it's like eggs and pancetta, which is sort of Italian bacon per se, and you can put milk in it. It's very good.
No, I haven't had lunch yet, so you made me hungry. That's about all I got, man. Is there anything else you wanted to add in, letting everybody out at PCN know Italiano, or have we covered it?
PCN Juventus is going to be there to fight till the end, and ultimately, may the best team win.
There we go, guys. I appreciate your time, Italiano. I know it's hard to schedule these things up, and you being accommodating towards me. And guys, I hope you enjoy it, and we'll see who's going to be the third guest on our interview. And PCN, let's keep it growing. Thanks, guys. Thanks, Italiano.